All right, welcome to the second Guildies podcast. It is December 11th, 2020. And let's dive right into it. I have some news about WoW. I am joined by my co-host, Bear, by the way, the co-host of the Guildies podcast. I will get right into the news, and then we'll touch on Cyberpunk, which I think is going to be the big one. Yeah. I didn't play it yet, but Bear played it. We have a lot to talk about from what I hear. But WoW news. So the PvP balancing happened. I don't know if you saw this, Bear.
I have not.
I know you said you haven't played.
I've been completely blind on like everything WoWs for a couple days.
So the PvP balancing came out, and it really... So I'll just tell you what it was. So
all right,
Marksman Hunter got nerfed really, really hard.
Woo!
And the nerf... the nerf kind of brings up the point that the class is really fragile. It almost doesn't belong in WoW, because the only way for Marksman to... Well, no, the class is... kind of, it's stationary, it's got high firepower, and you have to like hard counter it, but the issue is it's either really strong or like insanely forgettable. Like it's not even viable at all. Sure. And they did what they usually do, and just a fat slap
on damage
to damage. It's not in a good spot. It's in a really bad spot, and it's in a spot right now where like Marksman it's not even worth it. There's literally any other ranged DPS.
How far did it get pushed down on like the overall scalings?
Pretty far. In terms of ranged DPS, like it's sitting next to like I think Affliction, which is not doing well right now. Yeah, it's a bummer.
Wow, that's fucking mad. What the fuck? I didn't realize it was.
It's not viable anymore. It's at a point where I would be better off playing Beastmaster in arenas, which I also don't want to do because the kit really isn't made for arenas. You have like a stun and a half, and you're like, please. What was my gorilla's name? Either way, please, gorilla, please help me. And it does. I mean, you get to like 2000 CR, and you just get stomped by anyone who knows how to play PvP. So that's the first nerf. Paladins got nerfed.
Okay. This is what I'm kind of interested in.
Very significant. From what I understand, it's like a proc chance nerf. Which is what was so powerful about them, where you'd get into combat with them, and they'd have like a double or a triple or a quadruple proc happen, and you're just gone. You're There's no like, I'm going to mitigate damage from them. From what I can tell, they're still in a good spot from all the PvP I played this week.
Good. That's good.
They're still strong, which is interesting because at the beginning of this expansion, they were anything but. Ret was set to be in the worst spot it's been since like Classic, since it didn't have like any damaging abilities. Gotta hate Classic so much.
That's
but they're in an okay spot. I don't know how it's gonna be. It's literally the fourth day? Oh, well, season started on the 8th, so 3 days in. We're 3 days into the season. We'll see. I don't know. It's in the air. It's still better than Warrior right now. I actually have a great PvP.
No day.
I have a great PvP story to tell here in a second. But I'll get to the final change, which is Sub got nerfed. And when I say nerf, I mean absolutely nothing has changed.
Okay.
Dude, Sub is still just as fucked up as it was.
Oh man, that's lame.
They're just killing it, dude. I don't know if Sub is gonna be like all the way through, kind of like how Mage was in BFA, but like Sub is still in a great spot. Assassin's still in a great spot in PvP. They're both completely viable, and it's the nature of the class, right? Like Rogue is.
Yeah, I think Rogue is very. Yeah, it's. I think the thing with Rogue though is that in order to get to those numbers, you have to be really good with the class, you know. Whereas I think something like a paladin or something, you can just kind of hit buttons and you'll get
Right.
the damage.
Sure.
Whereas rogues,
Absolutely.
it's a lot of like, it's like a high skill gap, I guess.
I would agree. Well, you have to do a lot of positioning as a rogue, and there's timing that you have to think about, and depending on who you're
Yeah.
playing with. Now, I'll tell you what's pissed me off more than anything in the last week since rated PvP
Okay.
started is I'm getting really tired because I don't. Even though I have a PvP guild, we're not doing a lot of rated stuff. They
Okay.
organize big BGs and they organize world PvP, but they're not like gladiator tier like arena guys.
Right. Yeah.
Which is fine. I do love my guild. They're nice people. And I've had a lot of fun PvP with them. But it's at a point right now where if you happen to be against like Druid Rogue, you lose. There,
Yeah.
unless you are also running double stealth, you will get stun locked by the sub rogue and killed by the feral. And even if you make it out of the stun lock, you have got so many dots on you that you pop all your mitigation and all your like your insta heals, and you're not even damaging. You've spent the 5 seconds you're out of the fucking 8 rogue stuns, just trying to patch yourself up, and it's dude, it's like not. It's really frustrating because if you had if I had a teammate that I could probably do something more with. I know you're not as into PvP as you were or as I am. But something might be able to happen. But just like queuing with Group Finder and then and then being like, oh, sorry, other meta class, we just got our fucking dicks ripped off by a double
I would,
stealth combo. It's frustrating.
yeah, I think that was one of like the more bigger draws. I love random battlegrounds, but when it comes to like those rated kind of like arena stuff, as much as I would like to get into it, the meta is just so crippling for
It's
me.
hard.
It makes it really like I don't know, like the idea that I can like, hey, I'm gonna jump in with my like warrior. This is obviously not, this is hypothetical, but like, I'm jumping a warrior with my friend Hayden, who's a marksman or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And we get in and we're like, all right, like, yeah, let's have a fun fight. We're gonna pop cooldowns. We're gonna like, I don't know, beat a human to death with a
We're
club.
gonna pop cooldowns, dude.
Yeah,
That's a hip
yeah,
hop
bro.
song.
But no, but then you get in, you're like, you run out the gates, you're swinging, war crying, and then this rogue comes out of stealth and knocks you, like, pops you in the back of the head. You've got a concussion, and the rogue freaking cuts open all your arteries, and you're like, fuck, what do I do? And then you're
Yeah.
dead before you can do anything.
Yeah, well,
Like,
man, especially with Warrior. What a great example of a class that's just getting fucked.
dude, we won't go into it, but I am so fucking.
Yeah, I get that, and that's tough right now too because there's no scaling, especially in rated BGs or not BGs, but rated anything, any rated arena stuff. So you have guys who are like doing Mythic 8s right now who are also in like low level arenas where it's like, your item level is 300, mine is 158. Tugs on collar. Yeah. So that is we should do Mythics after this podcast. Yeah, because that opened up with the season as well.
Shit. Okay.
Anyways, that's pretty much all I have for the WoW. I have a story though. And it's a great story, and it
get your hot chocolate ready.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it's story time. So I was doing Arathi Basin, just a BG for like my daily.
Right.
And I'm at Mines, and it's a big fight, big knockdown drag out, and it ends up being me and a warrior. And the warrior so it's me playing Marksman Hunter. It's post nerf, so I don't have the broken aim shot. And it's me left and him, and he doesn't have very much health, and he seems to have an idea. We're quite a big distance away. I'm like up on the hill, and he's like running back up the hill towards like stables. And he's like running away, and so he heroic leaps out of my range, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I turn around to I don't know what I was. I don't know if I was gonna like look around and see if there was more. But I turn around and I come to turn back around and he is fucking mid charge back at me. He's got to have. He's got to have an eighth of his health bar. Okay, so he
My
fucking
man.
charges back in with no, because he was so far away. Is there like a double heroic leap thing?
There is.
Is that a thing?
Maybe not her leap, but I know there's 2 charges. There's talents for like cooldowns on leap though.
Okay,
So.
well, either way, he fucking closed that gap in absolutely no time, and he gets up to me, and I'm like, "Ha, I'm gonna get him," and the fucker pops Blade Storm, and I'm at like near full health because I haven't gotten hit the whole time because I'm playing marksman, and he fucking pops Blade Storm, and I almost die. Because in the heat of battle, I'm not thinking that you can't interrupt Blade Storm, and you can't. You can't stop it. You can't do anything. So I fucking waste all my locks. I can't stun him in place with binding shot. I can't do anything. So he gets me down to like a little bit below like a quarter of my health before he dies. But like the shit in my pants, dude. It was like a horror movie. Where he fucking closes the gap and then like just blade spins and my fucking health is just falling. Because that still apply deep wounds?
It does. I think it applies like a different form of deep wounds, like
Okay.
one that I think decreases like healing or something.
Still a dot. Yeah, it was a fucking mess. It was pretty scary.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Blade Storm it's a beast of its own. Like a fucking like an AoE constant like dot thing where you slow healing and you're immune to all stuns and movement impairing abilities and it's uninterruptible is amazing, dude.
Yeah, dude.
It's like
who made that ability?
the one person at Blizzard that's like, maybe Warrior could be something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're not gonna push it that hard, but we could pretend it's something.
Blizzard also fired this man.
Yeah, he got fired, and we were replaced with 8 minimum wage rogue players. So
fuck them, rogues.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You know what? I'm having a lot of fun leveling my night elf right now. I think I leveled a night elf a long, long, long time ago, like Mist era. And anyone who listens to this podcast knows we're not big Alliance players.
First one, which you should absolutely listen to.
You should. Yeah, you should. Yeah, and also thanks to everyone for listening to the first podcast. We got a little bit of views on that one. Not a lot, but someone watched it who wasn't me and my girlfriend or my cat.
Hey man, your cat a real one.
Yeah, he is a real one. Anyways, I'm really enjoying it. I like the night elves. I like the night elves. The new night elf customization stuff. That's part of why I wanted to. Because here's the thing: as a Middle Eastern man with a large beard, I don't have representation in WoW. There's no like, what do you call it? There's no monster race like trolls or orcs or Tauren that have like a
that hail from the Middle East.
Yeah. That have a full beard.
Okay.
I wish I could get a blood elf that has a beard. Like a full beard that connects, not the fucking douchebag like pencil chin strap bullshit. Like a beard that connects with the mustache. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Daddy. Yeah, exactly. And so then I saw Night Elf's got a full ass beard. I mean, like a beard that looks like my beard.
You could put vines in it.
And I didn't, for whatever reason. I didn't put vines in it, but I could have. But I wanted to be represented in WoW, so I rolled the Night Elf. I rolled the Night Elf Rogue because I thought the customization looked cool, and I mean it's instant queue times for everything on Alliance because absolutely no one wants to play Alliance. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't touched it in a while, but like the tank is like fun. Like it's fun just playing a new. It's like it's content that I haven't really explored, so it's always nice to play.
Sure. I'm doing Legion as a rogue. That's fun.
Ooh.
It's been a while since I've done Legion content, like since Legion came
Content's
out.
fun.
All right, let's move on. So
All right.
my good friend Bear is going to tell us about Cyberpunk, a game I have not played, and I'll preface this whole thing with what I've seen so far, which is mainly reviews on like YouTube and Reddit, and from my perspective, it looks like it's not in a great spot. The game itself looks like it might be kind of fun and kind of interesting, but the launch looks like it happened, from my perspective, again, just outside looking in, very poorly. The optimization is pretty substantial, and that the game itself is not the amazing, like, groundbreaking game that it was said to have been. Again, I haven't played it, but I never buy single player games, so I have Bear here. Bear's my liaison into sitting alone in his room.
Yes, the Cyberpunk.
Yeah, so let's hear it.
All right, so I want to like pretense whatever everything that I got the console version, the Xbox One X version, not the Series X. Because originally my computer just doesn't meet, like, I think it's past like minimum spec for the PC launch, but like I still it's like I wanted to be like, you know what, I'll take the safe bet and I'll go the console route.
Right.
And that okay, so that is, I'll get to that a bit later. But my first general impression is like my baseline impressions is the game is fun. Like, it's a really fun game to play.
Okay.
Like the world is interesting. It draws you in really well. There's a lot of like just side content for you to get lost in. There's like customization. It's cool.
There's a penis slider, isn't there?
There is. I turned off nudity because I found it really stupid, but like it's there.
Wait, hold on. Like, so no, wait, no, hold on. No. See, this is the first question I gotta ask. Do you actually see your dick in it?
You do.
Okay, so hold on. No. Okay, so there's a penis slider, and also is there like cutscenes where you can see your dick and stuff, or can you like just take off your pants and see your dick swinging?
So it works in a funny way. So I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a cutscene at some point where, you know, you're like banging down some fucking cyber pussy, but that's not.
Some
but like
cyber, yeah. Yes.
But cyber putang. But if you're in like the inventory screen and you take off like clothes or your armor or whatever, you can see the dingling dangling. But if you're in the street and you look down and you have no clothes on, it defaults to underwear, I believe. So you can't just run around fucking turkey slapping the wind or whatever.
No. What? Turkey slapping the wind? What is that?
I don't know.
No. Not. I don't know. What does that mean?
You know, you're like running around, and we know he's going like everywhere. So it's like,
all right.
Anyway,
let's bring it back in. Go on.
Anyway, but yeah, like it's fun. The setting is amazing. It draws you in. It's this customization, which I think is overly somewhat pointless. It's not a hard game at all. It's pretty like easy, I guess. But it is janky. It is really, 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 really janky. I'm gonna dive into the console a bit, but
sure.
So because I'm on console, I'm obviously limited to 30 FPS, which I'm fine with. I knew what I was getting into. However, what I wasn't getting into was pop-in at a foot in front of me. World not loading when I'm driving in a car. The whole game looking like someone sandpapered it, but for like 3 hours.
Yeah, my impression so far on that is some of it looks like. I'll use a game that I'm currently playing with my friends. It looks like some of the low res textures in like Apex Legends.
Yeah. I'd say it's like it's worse than that. I feel like it's like really. It's bad. Like I've like walked up to NPCs, which like I in a small building. So you enter the building, the game can like render everything in the building fine,
Hmm.
but you walk up to the model, and the model looks like he's in the middle of like melting from sunlight because he's a vampire. like like if it looks like if you touched him, you could like your hand would get like it's like sludge.
Right.
It's awful.
Right.
And that's when he pops in like a second you get there, and then he turns into smudge. But it's just like the visuals. It's rough. It feels like it wasn't ready for console at all, and they pushed it because fucking like I can't imagine them delaying the game again. It's like good with shareholders and stuff.
Well, and that's a fantastic point. Yeah, CD Projekt Red has probably got a bottom line to reach, and because from what it sounds like, was The Witcher this bad at launch? Was Witcher 3 this rough?
I can't remember, but I feel like it may have been,
Maybe.
but at the same time, I don't know. Like I can't remember which of the three it came out in, like what 2016,
No,
So-
2014 or 15.
2014. Oh my god,
It was probably 2015. I'm gonna
It
strike
was-
a happy balance there.
It's rough, but visuals aside, it's not the biggest problem. My biggest problem
Uh-oh.
is you think 30 FPS, the visuals are like dog shit. You'd think, okay, it'll at least keep 30 FPS. That's where you're fucking wrong. If I walk up to a guy, like another gang member or whatever, and he's like, hey, I'm an evil guy, and he pulls out a gun, and there's like 3 gang members and me. This is 4 people in a dark alleyway. And I start shooting, the frames drop to 10 FPS. And it can't get into single digits by me firing a
Wow.
handgun.
Wow.
And this doesn't go away at all in the entire game, and it is the biggest problem. I think the pop in, I don't care. Like I don't care. I can still play the game. Smudging, I don't care. I don't care if they look like fucking Play-Doh. But I want to at least be able to play 30 FPS. It's a shitty request, I know, but
Sure. Yeah, you are a monster.
the fact that I can't even aim down sights without the frames dropping to 20 is unfucking playable, right? You have no idea how horrible it is. I'm a person that when I play games and they have stealth mechanics, I preferably don't do stealth mechanics. I think it's never really executed well.
Sure.
It's not executed well in this game. But I like shooting, and the shooting's fun. It's like probably one of the biggest enjoyments I have in the game. I think it's really cool because there's damage numbers. I have to actively do stealth so I avoid gunfights for 10 FPS.
Oh, dude,
So-
that is a fucking bummer.
It's horrible. It comes back to I don't think this game should have ever been released on consoles that aren't the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 and PC, obviously. It wasn't ready, and the fact that 30 FPS with these textures and I don't think they properly showed console footage of the game leading up to release, which explains why.
That was a big thing with the game that I kept and okay, so the other thing that's on our list for today is we're gonna have a little meta discussion about single player games and how do you make a successful single player game, and if single player games, is it a game or is it a movie that you're doing
interactive?
Interactive The Walking Dead by AMC. But leading up to it, there was just not a lot of gameplay footage. There was some in-engine footage, but even the stuff for like PC was still not comprehensive. And for me, that's not everyone. Me and you were just talking about it before the show. But at least when Infinite did its thing, it was in-engine footage, and it may not have been the most beautiful in-engine footage, but we did not get several cutscene after cutscene after cutscene after fucking promo cutscene of Halo Infinite stuff. We got the one, and then we got a gameplay demo.
Which, yeah, that is true. We did get a gameplay demo.
That was my
I can't decide if it was smart by them or just scummy that they didn't. It's like a genuine feeling of I feel betrayed, and I feel like I got scammed. Like it's like if they were like, okay, we're gonna fix the game down the line, but we're also offering like refunds if you really are that like saddened, I'd instantly take the refund like near instantly. I would, because
Okay.
it's such a horrible experience. Like this is probably like one of my worst gaming experiences like I've had in a long time of like disappointment just because of how badly this was released to consoles. And like the whole I want to like also mention this, the whole 7 years or like 5 years like old console whatever
Mm-hmm.
is such like a shitty argument, because one, it was advertised for consoles. It wasn't like, hey, it runs bad, I don't get it. It was, they also, I know in interviews they've like mentioned before that it runs okay. You know, they wanted to bring new heights, whatever.
Well, that was like one of the selling points. Was like this is gonna push the Xbox One and the PS4 as far as they can go. You thought The Last of
Yeah.
Us looked good? You're fucking wrong. You're a fucking stupid dumb retard. Okay, that looked like shit. Fucking Cyberpunk 2077 is gonna fuck your wife, and you're gonna be happy about it. And then we get it, and like it's clearly not working.
It's just like that's the thing as well. Like I have a One X, which is a bit more powerful than the standard baseline Xbox. The standard baseline Xbox is worse in my current situation, but it's there is no reason, because if this game right, it looks good. I even as much as it's like shitty at times, it does. You can see there's like a good. It would look good. This game not being able to run above like 10 FPS or whatever is such a joke, considering Red Dead Redemption 2, although I'll give credit, Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't have a bunch of neon lights everywhere and shit.
Right.
You go into towns and places, you get giant gunfights and explosions going off. The game is consistent. And that game, I'd say, is like way more prettier than Cyberpunk.
What an amazing... Can we just stop for a second?
Okay.
And talk about how much fun me and you had playing Red Dead Redemption 2 when it came out? What a great experience.
That was a blast. That was a really good time.
So good. That's my game of the year, 2019, for sure. I know it came out in 2018, but that's my game of the year, 2019. That's so good. Yeah. And I had such a great time with it. But you bring up a great point, and I've seen this talked about a lot online, is if fucking Rockstar can do it on their like zillion trillion dollar budget, it's not like CD Projekt Red is like, it's a AAA company. And even if it wasn't a AAA company, the hype they got going for CD Projekt Red, they had investors on board who were like, whatever you want, you have convinced everyone that this game is going to print money, that is going to change everything. We will bankroll whatever you need, whatever personnel you need. The fact that Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, and the biggest problems with it was like server desync online in like the first 3 days, which was staggering. But there's no reason. It's an established company. It's clearly got an insane amount of like Redditor, like I would donate to CD Projekt Red if they needed it. Like you have these tools. There's not an excuse to put out a game so fucked up.
Yeah, it's just such a letdown. It's like I don't understand how they could have. Like I guess I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, again, it's like shareholders were probably pressuring them, because like. And like the backlash from fans, I felt would have been a bit overly much if they they held it back again.
You know what's
again, and even the COVID situation with people working from home, definitely did not help. So
I think what's interesting is that Fortnite and Cyberpunk 2077 were announced at the same time. Fortnite had been in development a little bit before that, but it was like Epic's. I forget whatever team. I remember getting a Game Informer when I was living at like 2 or 3 residences ago, and it was like Fortnite gonna be, and it literally had like engine stuff from then, and like the traps and the building stuff, and it back when Fortnite wasn't like gonna be a battle royale thing.
Oh god, that was ages.
Just think about that. Cyberpunk 2077 and Fortnite have been in development for about the same amount of time.
Yeah. Cyberpunk was in development before the next gen consoles, not these ones, but the Xbox One and the
Yeah,
Xbox like One and stuff weren't even out yet.
it was like
So
12 or 13 when it got like announced.
yeah, and again, I imagine there's been a lot of like just complete like rehauls of like the engines and
Sure,
ideas and game mechanics,
I
but
I
like
totally believe that.
it's been a long time. Like it's been a really long time, and for this to be the result, it just kind of hurts,
Yeah,
you know.
it hurts. Yeah, dude, I totally will. And I don't know that it might, you know what? It might pick up. It might do really, really, really well. But it hasn't so far. Cyberpunk is not
Yeah,
the amazing.
it's not the beacon of hope of
Exactly.
like
If anything, it just showed how solidified this idea is among certain developers that you can put this out. Like even fucking WoW, Shadowlands got delayed 6 weeks. That's fucking unheard of. There has not been a WoW delay since the Burning Crusade, which got delayed like 6 months back in the day. They didn't do it. They didn't do it for MoP. They didn't do it for Warlords of Draenor, which is the one that needed it the most. If Shadowlands, here's the thing: Shadowlands was done when the original start date was, or the release date
right.
was supposed to happen. It just wasn't tuned correctly, and the maw was a little different, I guess. Okay. Otherwise, the game was done. They could have released it in its what was its state then, and balanced it up until now, but the game was done and they decided to push it back anyways. Fucking Blizzard, fucking Activision subsidiary now. Like, what the hell is your excuse? What?
Yeah,
I don't know. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I feel like, yeah.
it's it's a fucking messy situation. However, I'll give credit. I feel like I can't like bash the game for like everything bad, but they released a hotfix today, which addressed some problems, and they're currently working on the Xbox One hotfix. It's going
Good.
out in, like whenever. But I will mention I want to talk some positive things because I
Let's talk.
think
Yeah, let's hear them.
as much as the game fucking blows you with a fucking sand piece of like sandpaper or whatever, it's a good game. So one, the hacking everything is really interesting.
Oh right.
It
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
good because there's the mechanics. I'm gonna also like if you don't want like if you're like saving for like the like a PC you're gonna buy down the line, or you're waiting for the Xbox Series X or like PlayStation 4 versions and you don't want to know about even content, if you're remaining completely blind, don't listen. Um, but
Spoilers
'cause
is
I'm
what
gonna
he's
go
trying to say. There's spoilers
yeah,
up ahead.
I'm gonna like not so much story because I'm not too far into the story, but just content spoilers, I guess. But so the stuff like the hacking is interesting because everything is like when you go into an area and there's like a bunch of enemies, there's like 10 enemies and a bunch of cameras and all that kind of stuff. You can like ping it, which is it's like you ping the network or whatever, and it shows all the enemy locations. And there's stuff which you pretty much upload a virus into everything, and everyone just starts fucking screaming. You know, like it's cool. It's like the ways you go about stealth are really interesting. Like you can just completely shut down a person if they're like cybernetic or whatever, or like you can just you can like turn cameras and everything friendly, and it's like the hacking feels good. The cyber like implantation where you get like you can get stuff where you can like double jump. It's pretty standard, but like you get like
Nice.
mantis blades, which like come out,
Mobile.
those blades that come out of your arm. You get gorilla hands, which is
Ooh.
which is pretty cool. Like you get like all these really cool things, which really it's fun. Like you feel like you go into one fight, you just got a puny pistol and you shoot a guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go into the next fight, and now you're like shooting missiles out of your hand. Like it's a really good like it feels good to build up your character from this like petty street kid to like this half machine, half like man Terminator
Sure.
thing.
Cyborg. Black Cyborg from Teen Titans.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's exactly what. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And characters. I like the characters. They're cool. They're interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few here and there, but like Jackie, which is your main man for a good solid part. He's cool. He's like this. He's like from the streets, and he wants to make it out, but he's also very happy and he's jokey, and he's like essay and all that kind of stuff. So it's funny. It's having him around.
He's
He's like a he's a former like street gang member kind of kid.
Okay.
So
Like, well, this takes place in like L.A., right? Or
Cali. It takes
right.
place in Cali.
But like what? But what city in California?
It's like a made up city.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not a city.
So
That's
he's
the
like
thing
he's like an L.A. like
kind.
cholo gangster kind
Yeah,
of guy.
yeah. 'Cause
Okay.
There's like
Nice.
there's 5 gangs in
Nice.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like it's like I can't remember the names, but it's like, yeah, the gangs are cool as well. They're interesting. Like you've got like one which is Maelstrom, which are a bunch of like super cybernetic people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at them and they're like they don't have half their face. Like it's all just like robotic and stuff. And they're like junkies. Where then you got like the Valentinos, I think is what they come from, which are like the more like Mexican like origin, and
Right.
they're like pretty standard like Mexican gangs.
Right.
But
Yep.
it's cool. Like the universe they've built up. It's like it's interesting because it's like not so much what's the word it's it seems like everything is like flat out ran like by corporate. It's like hyper capitalism, I guess.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. The game.
yeah, the game. It's like a lot of it is like pretty much companies own you more or less. And
Yeah.
stuff,
There's. I've read a little bit about it where, people are kind of disappointed because they wanted like kind of a nuanced look at stuff, but it just ended up being rich people bad, from what I've read.
it definitely does portray that. Like it's very just in your face about like corporations are rich and you need to fight back. You need to. But at the same time, it's like they don't push it too hard. I feel like a lot of it's more about like making a name for yourself.
Sure.
Yeah, and I mean I don't mind it. I mean I think there's like some missions later on when you play as Keanu Reeves. You know.
Okay, I was gonna ask you, is the wholesome Chungus in it?
I have gotten to the part. His introduction to it was pretty intense because it's like, again, story stuff, I guess. But when you get betrayed by Dex, which is a character later on, which this is something also they fucked up. They revealed it in the trailer for the game that he betrays you, which is whatever.
Nice. So stupid.
Yeah, like it's flat up like the moment that happens is you pull up, Jackie just dies in the car next to you. Spoilers. You get out the car, you walk into the hotel, same hotel as like the one in the trailer. Do the same thing, walk up to the mirror, clean the blood off your face, come out, you get punched and shot, and then it's exactly the same thing. Just one character's not there compared to the trailer.
Okay.
And it's like whatever. And then there's this whole segment where you play as Keanu Reeves. He's like a rocker. He's like really like yes. It's kind of goofy seeing Keanu like push someone else against the wall and he's like, "Shut your mouth, bro," and then he's like takes a puff of a cigar or something. But he's introduced as like a super anti-capitalist terrorist.
Okay.
So he nukes. He sets off a bomb, like a nuclear bomb, in a city to fight back against capitalism. And it's weird. I wasn't expecting that, and it's kind of like so far as I've been playing through, it shows Keanu as a villain.
Cool.
More so,
That's
but I think I think you can adjust. I think like over time your actions like change it because it's like he's inside your head and you have like options to like slow it down or increase it if he's takeover, and there's like a whole plot there. But like it's interesting. It's like I thought Keanu was gonna like take me to like the local Reddit Starbucks and we're gonna share some gold with each other.
Did you say the local Reddit Starbucks?
Yeah, you know, like
yeah,
you sit down and you like give gold to each other, or whatever.
He pays for $5 for premium Reddit time gold, and then you give him $5.
You pull up like Reddit, a Cyberpunk monitor and you're just scrolling R funny or R gaming, whatever.
R funny.
but yeah, like it's interesting because like as you're going through, he's like a cunt to you, dude. Like just flat out, like he tells you to put a gun in your mouth and pull the trigger so he can hurry up and be like where you are. Like he actively hates you, and it's cool. I'll give credit. But besides that, gameplay again, I think it's fun enough that if I'm like considering getting it on PC, because I'm just gonna it'd be the same experience, but again, it might be a Christmas thing.
Is there gonna be any multiplayer anytime soon? This is gonna be a great segue here in about 3 minutes.
I don't think there's a single tiny inch of multiplayer in this game, Hayden.
Well, I thought I heard that they were like gonna have multiplayer at some point or some kind of
I know.
online.
I think in an interview they mentioned that it's although multiplayer is like has zero focus or whatever compared to like the game,
Mhm.
it's like down the line if it's like ever needed, they might look into it. But as far as I'm concerned, there's not even a speck of like multiplayer is
That's
multiplayer
good.
is, you know.
So
Yeah.
okay, so let me ask you this.
Mm.
So, as the game is now, including all the bugs and
Okay.
everything,
And the bugs.
how many Pog stars out of 10 Pog stars would you give it?
Pog stars, bro. Okay.
How
So,
many Pog
so this
P
is
stars?
so this is everything and not just like certain aspects of the game. This is
Right,
like
so-
everything come to the one.
Right, so we're just the experience so far. We can revisit this when they've had a few hot fixes, and you can give me your final rating for the game.
Okay.
But as of right now,
Okay.
12, 11,
So-
2020.
So I'd probably give it like a 7. You know,
Okay.
the gameplay and the story, the setting, it's all the characters. It's all good enough to keep. Like I still played through like at least like a chapter or two of the game
Sure.
and the prologue, and I played for like nearly 2 days straight, even though putting up with 15 FPS issues.
Yeah, that's a
Because
bummer.
I liked the game. The game was fun, and if these bugs went in the game, it would probably be a 9. I don't think any game is a pure 10.
Wow, a 9?
Okay.
That's pretty high.
I would give it. It's like again, it's like not innovative at all. I don't think. I think the overhype really like fucking blinded people to that.
Sure.
But it's it's a fun. It's a good setting. Like it's good. It's like
Right.
it's a good core game. It's just held back by shit. It's like
It's held
It's
back
like
by the fact that it's not quite done.
you've got to like you need to get like pumped full of like fucking shit before you can play the game. It's like
Fair. That's a bummer.
yeah, like I give it like 7, 8. So.
That is interesting. We will write that down.
7.5.
We'll revisit this in a month is a healthy amount of time to expect them to put out some stuff. On our-
Yeah.
2 from now, not next podcast, but the podcast after that.
If they don't, I'm gonna drop it to Talking 2 because fuck this company. If they
Okay,
do.
there you go. You heard it here first. So I'd like to talk about something else. We'll move on from this, but we can talk about it a little bit. I have this discussion with people all the time, or I try to. And I've explained my position on it a bunch of times, but I think it's worth telling people here who will be listening to the Guildies podcast my opinion on single-player games and story-driven games and how, so if you hear me rate something where you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense, idiot, you fucking dumbass, retarded,
fucking
dumb
loser.
idiot. Yeah. I want you guys to know where I'm coming from on all this. So I'll start out by saying, if you're going to have a game that has story focus, you have got to have some fantastic supplementing content. I'll use a great example that I'm sure people won't agree with me with. I know you will. Gears of War.
Ooh, yes.
Number one, what a great story. If you've never looked into the Gears story, there's a bunch of books. The games are amazingly fun. I think
Very
there's
accessible.
comics. I think there's like web comics or whatever.
There are. I'm pretty sure there are.
Gears is fantastic. I like Gears a lot. I wouldn't put it up there with like my top favorite like stories of anything. But Gears of War did a great job of like a fantastic setting, very identifiable and not even just likable, just like very human characters. They're all extreme. If you think about the original, just 1 through 3. Dom, Baird, Cole, and Marcus are all very, very human. And
Even Jack, like the little fucking robot.
yeah, dude, for sure. Yeah. I mean, you might hate Baird or you might think like Cole is silly or something, but the characters are very human and they're put together in a way, and there are all these scenarios where you feel something for those characters, even if it's not a good thing, you feel something. But the game is fun, right?
Yeah.
Gears of War is, 25-30% story and 70% like what was an innovative cover system then, and innovative does not stand up, but was innovative then. And the chainsaw stuff was, dude, chainsawing was so much fun in Gears 1. It was like,
dude, it was like such a it's like an awakening. You run to the circus, and he's like, "Rrr!" And then you cut the poor homie in half with the chainsaw.
Yeah,
as
dude.
Marcus is screaming, there's blood everywhere. It's like if you're like 15 to like 10 or whatever, and that's happening, you're just like fucking screaming with like an energy, you know?
Yeah,
it's
dude,
like,
it was amazing. I remember getting Gears of War. Also, what an amazing voice actor. I forget his name.
Marcus Phoenix. Right?
Yeah, Mark plays Jake the dog, and
he plays Jake the dog.
Yeah, dude, he's Bender too.
What the dude? What the fuck?
Yeah, those three voices are the same guy.
John DiMaggio.
Yeah, John DiMaggio. DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. DiMaggio.
DiMaggio.
But Gears of War is a great one where the story doesn't take anything away from the gameplay, right? The gameplay is fun. For the time, it was innovative. And they did a lot with it as it went on. So 2, you got Horde mode, and then 3, you had what I think is probably the best iteration of Horde mode. And there was always extra content. The online was fun. But my problem lies in when someone tells me to play a JRPG because it has an amazing story. I literally don't understand what you're telling me. JRPGs in my mind are turn-based combat is not particularly fun to begin with. There are some games that do it well, right? Like XCOM is fun. The Fire Emblem series at least does something more. But when it's like Pokemon style, like Final Fantasy, like lining your guys up on each side and they each take
dude.
Yeah, like
I can't stand that type of. It's just not gameplay to me. It's
well, exactly, and it exists to tell a story, right? Like that's not content.
Right.
You're grinding up numbers by fighting these different enemies, and then you get to a point where you can't go any farther because you haven't grinded enough numbers, and then you grind enough numbers, and then you can get. It's like there's no system to master. There's no adventure that you create for yourself. It's a very streamlined process. Some of it, which is very tedious, but it's all justified by this amazing story. To which I say, why don't you read a book or watch a movie or watch anime or buy a visual novel? Exactly.
Yeah.
And
there's enough of them out there. You'll find what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean when I don't like playing single player games. Like. There's another part to this that I'll get to. There's a few parts to this. But another one is, how many hours do you think you put into The Last of Us 1? How long do you think that campaign is?
I don't know. Like I think like it's like 5. I want to say 5 hours if you play through hard, but like maybe like 10. I think 10 would be a safe bet.
You think 10? I was going to say like 20, but here's the thing. I played through The Last of Us one time. I paid $60 for that fucking game.
Yeah, I did too.
The Last of Us was a fine story. I thought it was good. Joel and Ellie were convincing characters in the first one. They made you feel something for them. They accomplished all the great storytelling things. It was the most boring fucking game I have ever played.
It was like the gameplay. I think when people think of The Last of Us, they think because of like the bond again, as you said, this bond between Ellie and Joel are really. It's a good story. It's watching them go through. It's like a bit. It's like but the gameplay was. Whoever thought of like this is what the gameplay is going to be, should be like thrown in the dumpster. Like, it's bad, dude. Like it's like. It's like just thinking about it's like horrible. It's like
it's so uninspired. It was like really, really like generic, over the shoulder gameplay that we've had since. I mean, Gears came out in what 2004, 5. It was not. We've had it for a long time. It's interesting that I used Gears, but it just wasn't. It's not breaking any ground. It never was. And a 20-hour story. Let's just be generous, dude. That's like $2 an hour. That's fucking bad. That's not right.
Hold on, what?
It's like two and some change. It's not good. It's not good that you're not getting return on investment. Okay. Let me take another game. For you since we're on the price point. I paid $60 for Monster Hunter World. If I go on Steam right now, I believe I have about 300 or 400 hours. Now, you all may not work at a financial institution, but that's some good fucking money, buddy. That's like less than 50 cents an hour on that. Now, that's an efficient use of your money. That's a replayable game. And that's my final point. It's an amazing game. It's maybe one of the best. What gets me into a game is a game that there's two things. The engine should be intuitive and should be masterable. When I play a game, I want to play a game. I want to get good at an engine. I want to get good at a game. I want to put time into it so I can get something more out of it than just like the experience of playing, Super Mario Brothers. Like, I want to become good at it. I want to achieve something with it. So when you have games like Red Dead or GTA or an FPS, something where the engine is masterable or fluid or feels good to play and is fun to experiment with, that's what draws me to a game. That's what makes me want to be in it. The second thing is that, where was I going with this?
Oh my gosh.
That was bad. So you gotta have the open world, and then you have to be able to. An open world game feels good when you can have your own adventures in it. Yeah, that was what I was going with it. Like GTA 5 Online is so important to me, and important to me in my mind in gaming and just the art of gaming, where they give you an amazingly polished, fun, thought out engine, and they're like, you have no objectives. You have no objectives at all. You go out there and do whatever you want to do. Heist, you can do heist. You want to get on the train and shoot people from the train? You go and do that. Do you want to go bully an entire lobby of people because you're cheating in GTA 5? Go do that. Do you want to go be Elliot Rodgers and sit up in a fucking parking garage and take pot shots at people down below? You can do that. You can do that. You can go to the top of the mountain. You can fly a plane. You can fly a plane into your friends who are on the ground. You have got so much freedom to have your own adventures, which I think is the most important part of playing a video game. It's the same thing with WoW. Like, I can go quest anywhere. I can go explore anywhere. I can go collect herbs anywhere. I can go, kill this. I can go I can do world quests. I can go talk to my guild. We can have guild meetings. We can do RP stuff. We can do world PvP. There was that thing going on, I'm sure it's still going on, outside of Orgrimmar every night, EST, on Emerald Dream, where everyone's doing the fun duel stuff, and everyone's just dueling and having a good time. Sure. I can have all these parts of this game, and the engine is so bad. WoW is such an the engine is such an objectively bad game. The game is so fucking horrible, but it's got so much freedom to it. The story is fantastic enough. The characters are memorable, and you feel like you're in the world, which I think is the most important thing about WoW, where one of the things that Lord of the Rings didn't get right, and I don't know how they could have. I do know how they could have, but they didn't. Is I never got to experience, Rivendell on my own. I never got to go into Rivendell and experience those things with my character or with another character. I didn't get to go into Lothlorien or the Entmoot and or what's Sauron's thing?
The Black Gate?
No. Is it
Mount Doom?
No, it's Saruman. Sorry, not Sauron.
Oh, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's my bad. What's it called? I can't think of the. I was literally.
Isengard. Isengard?
Yeah, I think.
No, wait.
Yes.
Hold on. Isengard.
Yeah, it's Isengard.
Isengard. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was literally reading Two Towers last night before I went to bed. Um,
Sorry, me.
but I never got to experience those things, and I think the important thing about WoW, and I said this to my lovely girlfriend when we were talking about this the other day, being able to like read about the where the dark portal is and the blasted lands and all the stuff that happens there, and then go there and see it is crazy.
Yeah.
Or like Theramore, where they're like, they nuked it, and you can go there and be like, wow, this is crazy. This is crazy. Or like,
Turn up my alliance.
or like even better in Silvermoon, where there's the big swath cut through Silvermoon and all of is it Everwood Forest right there? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
I can't think of the zone.
I think like, is
Eversong.
it? I thought it was Eversong. Yeah.
You might be right. I don't spend any time on the Alliance side. That's
It's not on the alliance side. You fucking clown.
but it's on that continent. It's on the Eastern
It's on their
Kingdoms.
rock. It's on their rock.
It's on there. It's not on my. Whoa, that's you can say rock. You can't say rock. Yeah, that's our word. You can say rock.
Rock. Stop.
But anyways, but it's so interesting to read about all the stuff that the Scourge did, and then go and see it and see that the Ghostlands are still super fucked, or see that like the top part of Lordaeron is still just a ghost town. Like there's nothing there. That's such an important part of that fantasy world, that I can go and experience those things that I read about in the books. And so for me, when a single player game has to achieve but all the things I just said is what makes me love video games and love fantasy and love storytelling in that medium, and the stories that I tell in that medium, because I make them myself and me and my friends make them, and it's an amazing experience to have. I don't want to experience Neil Druckmann's like masturbatory aid script for $60. Now, if they sold The Last of Us 2 for like $10, I'll play it. I'll play all the way through it. Whatever. That's a good investment. $60 for a game. What'd you say?
For like $10, I'll even do them a favor and I'll play their innovative Last of Us multiplayer.
I forgot about that. About that. Wow, that was
bad. It sucks too because it looked cool, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, dude, just like Resident Evil 6 multiplayer. That looked. Yeah, dude, I don't even think that's up anymore. I think like the servers are not functioning for it. Anyways, I don't want to steamroll you. If I'm talking too much, you let me know.
Hey, Kurt, you.
So,
what do you think?
an example of a story-driven game that I think is worth the money and does a great job is Resident Evil 4. I don't know if have you played Resident Evil 4?
I have played Resident Evil.
Okay. Resident Evil 4 to me is an amazing piece of like, it's a story-driven game, completely story-driven game. There's the mercenaries mode, but that's like 10 to 50 hours of gameplay if you were into it. It's a story-driven game mode with what was an innovative engine design with a fantastic setting, a fantastic premise that was executed really well. And the game has a lot of replayability, right? It's got all these extra modes and different settings you can have and all these guns to unlock. And I would say if you got everything in Resident Evil 4, there's probably 100 hours of content, 200 hours of content. The game is fantastic, and it's scary, and it's a story. But the story, it was still at a time when Capcom was telling like spaghetti western style stories, but like
spaghetti western,
dude. Okay, see, like the president's daughter is kidnapped by a cult leader who's actually injecting a super zombie virus into people's necks and mind controlling them. And Leon Scott Kennedy, the fucking poor sad fucker who got stuck in it in Resident Evil 2, is back because he's Secret Service now because he lived through Raccoon City and now he's works for the president. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is retarded. What the fuck? But the game is carried by the characters are likable and scary, right?
Well,
Chief
except
Mendez is scaried. Leon is like this like he's got his like one-liners. He's like, I'll get you, Salazar.
Dude, that's asthmatic,
like, yeah, right. And he's got all these stupid ass like cheesy one-liners, and the game is so clearly self-aware, right? The game's like not trying to be profound.
Yeah.
The game's like, and it's believably scary. There's a lot of really, really, really good, like the regenerator part, dude. Literally, I had nightmares for weeks. I think I played that game when I was like 9 or 10. Literally I couldn't sleep with the lights off. I was so scared.
This homie a baby.
Dude, I'm dead serious. But the gameplay was so much fun, dude. The over-the-shoulder thing and like the laser sight on the body, and it was so innovative. You could shoot different parts and they would do different things. If you'd shoot them in the arm, they'd partially stagger. If you shoot them in the knee, they like fall down.
They did a backflip and fucking fell over.
Yeah, okay, and some of it wasn't exactly the most realistic, but it's a game where it's single player, but there's so much content and so much character to the story. You can like the characters, you can like the setting, and that to me is what makes a good single player game. But I think when you talk about games like Last of Us, or like even Uncharted, like
the gameplay just doesn't hold up. It's not good enough to carry the story.
Right, exactly. Well, it'd be better off as a movie. Like The Last of Us as a movie would have been way better. That would have been a great movie. I would have paid $17 to go to the fucking movie theater and watch an hour. I'm serious. Like an hour and 30 of like Last of Us movie. That'd be so cool. Why didn't they do that? That's fucking missed opportunity. Fucking, we got the shitty ass Walking Dead bullshit, but you could have given us a great zombie story.
Fucking hate The Walking Dead.
It's not super.
Yeah, it's just again like, and it's like comes down to it could have been innovative design gameplay and it'd be fun, but instead they chose for some fucking reason. So this is how I see pretty much every level. You enter this new area. There's a slow walk for about 5 minutes of you getting some like background story on the area by like Ellie or Joel, and then you come into this puzzle area where you have to get to the top of this building over here, but there's like water and clickers, and you have to be doing some puzzles to get by.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the top of the building, and now there's clickers there. You gotta be stealthy and quiet. Okay, I'm gonna go through this whole area doing that. I'm just gonna stealth it up, be really slow. You get past that. Oh, suddenly there's a bandit that shot you. The clickers are out. The bandits are out. You're in a gun fucking fight. You have to throw some like homemade IEDs. And then you kill them all, and then Joel and Ellie have a talk about what's moral and what's not moral. Yeah. And then you go to the next area and you repeat the whole thing again. That's the entire game.
Yeah, it's a real bummer, and I wish the gameplay was better. But that's where I'm making this assertion that like, please stop buying that. Like, this is a PSA to everyone out there. Like, I understand your desire to want to like read a book or watch a TV show, and I am all there with that. I think you should read a zillion books. I think you should watch all the great TV you want, all the great series, and all the great movies.
Watch Mandalorian.
I heard The Mandalorian is really good. I haven't watched it on Disney Plus. I'm watching House again. House is fantastic drama.
Ooh.
I'm not above dramas. Listen.
Dramas are good.
Exactly, and that's the place for it. The issue is I don't know, and I think this has a lot to do with people putting out these fucking shitty games, is that there's such a focus on story, and people will buy a game that has 30 hours of content for $60 fucking dollars. That's crazy. We're living in 2020, baby. Okay? A game should give you a good purchase for a $60 game should at least give you 60 hours, 60 solid hours of content. If it's not
Dollar
done
per
that,
hour.
you have wasted your money.
True.
Exactly. $1 per hour should absolutely be how much you're getting out of a game. And some games, some indie games, I'm someone who used to harp on indie games all the time because they weren't great forever. But like Deep Rock Galactic, my game of the year 2018,
yeah.
I've got at least 150 hours on that game. Deep Rock is an amazing game that I bought for like $20.
Yeah.
That's a good purchase.
It's a super good purchase.
I don't know. I think you can't. I hate how all these stories like Final Fantasy. Like I want to like it. I guess all my friends like it. I'm supposed to like it, but I don't want to fucking do turn. Or here's the better one. And Sean, who we will have on the podcast at some time. I don't know. Maybe
My buddy Sean.
Yeah, our good my good buddy Sean. I don't know if we're gonna have him on for like a WoW thing or he's really into Apex. Maybe we can talk about some BR stuff.
Yeah, Babex.
Yeah, Bapex, Babe, Ape Sex.
What?
But Sean loves Earthbound or Mother or whatever you want to call it, right? Ness from Smash. And the games are actually insanely cool. I've watched some playthroughs of them. I played them when I was really young, but it was like an NES game. And the story was really interesting because it was like a big metaphor for being a kid and experiencing the world. And there's a lot of very, very actual deep story and ideas that is communicated. The issue is that it is stuck behind 80 fucking hours of JRPG bullshit. How the hell do you expect me to play this fucking... What the hell? 80 hours of fucking JRPG? Can the story be that good? That is like what I would probably consider like the best story I've seen in one of those. And 80 hours? You might get me 5 hours of enjoying fucking turn-based butt fucking content.
Yeah, it's just such a, it like if you have like such a good story, eventually like if the game like just holds it back and it's like it pushes you away, like it's just like that, like 80 hours for the story. So it's not even like like fucking Last of Us again. It's like it's not like something you can move around in story and find stuff. It's a fucking turn-based RPG bullshit.
Dude, here's my thing. Final Fantasy VII. There's not a... what's a moment that stayed with me from a story-driven game? Do you know when they rescue Ty off of the barge in Gears of War 2 and he fucking kills himself in front of everybody?
Yeah.
What an amazing, amazing scene of just like making the world believable. Not that it wasn't believable before, which is it's not even an issue that Gears have. It's like you get like PTSD from playing this fucking game because it's the entire game, the entire universe is so bleak and oppressive. And then you've got this ragtag band of, humans left that are trying to defend humanity and everyone's suffering so much. And then they save their buddy and he was tortured so bad by them that the second he gets a gun, he has to blow his fucking head off. And
Yeah.
it's such a believable world.
I like the Carmines even. Like
Yeah, that one's
it's
just
like-
that one's just like macabre. That one's like just
yeah, like
really
the first
brutal.
like the first one, I think it was Anthony.
Yeah,
because it's Anthony where he just gets his head blown out, and I'm like, I imagine the first time it happens, it's like not really too much notice. It's like sudden and surprising because you play through the story a bit with this guy, and it just happens. And then Benjamin comes along in the next game, which is it's a bit rougher for that. Like that's just like emotional for when you like he gets fucking. You play through nearly like a good chunk of like the half of the game with him, and then he just fucking gets eaten.
Oh, right. He
essentially.
gets eaten by the
Yeah,
larva
and,
and
like-
the worm, right?
And like Marcus is there, like like holding his hands on and he's like just missing half of his torso.
It's like
And
it's such a brutal, it's such a hard look at like war, like just war in general, like young men dying, just people dying Just people dying, like
Yeah.
people being helpless and dying and trying to fight and then failing and dying. And like it's the same thing where it's like a metaphor for like a family who loses several sons to, to a war. That's great storytelling. And whether you like the games or not, that's whatever that is way more purpose-based, way more deep than like fucking Final Fantasy VII or some bullshit where it's like stupid ass plot point turn bullshit after another, but you stretch it out over 30, 50, 60, 70 hours of gameplay. And that Thai one that I'm talking about happens, 8 hours in the game, maybe? If that.
I wouldn't say 8. I'd say probably like, oh, actually,
It's like midway through Act 3.
I'd give it like 7.
You think so? Okay.
7, 6-ish. Yeah, because it's like it's not, the first act is hospital, and then the second act is the.
Oh, okay. You're right.
Oh, actually, no. Yeah, I retract that. I retract that fully. I think, yeah, you're right. But like maybe even 9.
Yeah.
It's like the fourth act only. So.
Oh, because you're chasing the barges under and. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
and I'm forgetting the other one. He finds Maria. Like that was that was even worse, dude. That like is so soul crushing. So if you guys don't know the story of Gears 2, basically
make me cry, man. What the
Dom's wife gets taken. I don't know if she's like been gone since 1.
She has. There's like, I think it's like pretty. He's been searching for her for a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's not as apparent in 1, but.
Yeah, I feel like they probably just like put that in after that he's been looking for, because he talks about her in 1, but he doesn't talk about her like she's not around anymore.
Well, no, 1, yeah, I'm pretty sure, because remember he goes. Oh, I know. Oh no, yeah, because doesn't he talk to that guy, in the beginning where he calls him the favor, and like
yeah.
I'm pretty sure like something's mentioned like any news about her or something. Something like that. Anyway,
that might be right. That might be 110% true. But basically, Dom finds her in like the slave pits in the Locust, in the what do they call it? The Hive or the
it's the Hive or something.
Yeah, whatever bullshit. Basically, she's super emaciated and like brain dead, and like she was tortured so much, and he finds her and he like sees her like she's normal, and then it like pans back to reality.
Yeah.
She's like withered and her eyes are all like cataracts over and like
super
fucked up. And then he kills her.
Yeah, it's like I remember originally that scene. It kind of like I was like, oh, that's sad, but then it took me a bit to realize that you're like viewing it from Dom's eyes, like Dom's perspective when he sees her, like frees her, and she's this healthy, just I'm fine. But then you realize you're like viewing it from Marcus's perspective on the outside, and she's withered as fuck.
Yeah,
like she's not. It's like
it's heavy. It's insanely heavy, dude. And like it does the like Marcus is like, dude, he's like, you gotta let it go, Dom. She's gone. Dom. But it's such a for a game that's like a little over the top, it's so grounding. It's like actually kind of depressing. Like it goes past being like just grounding. It's like that is so heavy, but that's amazing storytelling alongside a good game. And whatever shit I had to slog through to get there was 110% worth it.
Yeah. It's like reinforced the entire way. Like I know like the cut missions from 1 where you can play them like as like a free DLC or something on Xbox.
Oh, right.
There's those missions, because like like Marcus and Dom, they put on like the armor and like you want to sneak past everyone or fight through and you just sneak past.
Mm-hmm.
The option for like if you choose to like in the extra mission options, you get to choose to fight them.
Mm-hmm.
And one, it brings a bit more story to the game, of some loose ends. But Dom I'm pretty sure Dom like loses his mind a bit. Like he's like pretty relentless.
Yeah, well he's like overwhelmed with grief, and
they did it's just good storytelling.
It is. Well, and they do a full like character arc from like Dom in 1 all the way to him killing himself in 3. And in the books they do way more with it. as far as like, because Dom and Marcus were like best friends since they were kids, and Marcus watches Dom's older brother die, and they were all in the COG together and the Coalition, and it's really great storytelling. But yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and I guess we'll wrap this up with please just buy a book. Or watch Mandalorian, or just don't. Please stop buying shitty single player games, please.
Yeah,
if you're gonna buy a single player game, it's got to be a good single player game. What's a good single player game?
I'd say Mass Effect. If you're like looking for like an RPG kind of, Mass Effect is a great series to get into, and it's a game where you can, or Dragon Age even, but BioWare's earlier stuff is really good.
KOTOR was amazing.
KOTOR, yeah, very
fun combat.
There's a bunch of good games out there. Just don't buy Last of Us.
Yeah, we don't hate Last of Us. We just hate Last of Us
gameplay.
We just hate Last of Us gameplay. There's got to be a difference. I don't hate Nathan Drake. I just hate playing as Nathan Drake. Yeah, I just hate. And I don't hate JRPGs. I just despise JRPGs. Yeah. If I could do some kind of. If I could round up all the JRPGs and put them in one place, and then send that place into the sun, I would do that right into the sun. So that exhausts my list of stuff right now. Do you have anything more? Any more topics to add?
No, not really. I mean, that's covered pretty much everything.
We were going to talk a little bit about the new Warhammer DLC. Unfortunately, I don't think either of us have actually finished either campaign yet.
Yeah, that's
the Wood Elves are insane. So here, we'll cover it. We'll call this one Bears Quickies.
We played the didgeridoo music, dude. Let's go.
It's good. They're fun.
Very fun. Very fun. Super strong. The new Lord is amazingly strong.
Very good. It's so hard. The way you have to turtle and be like this turbo xenophobic like country is very hard. Just like real life, everyone instantly hates you for what is basically no reason. The only people who like you are skeletons and one of the other pointy-eared shithead factions.
Yeah, and the only way to get other people to like you is like spend like 50 turns researching something, and even then they still hate you.
Yeah, researching or like bribing them, but the issue is also your economy is not particularly good because you have
essentially like the freedom fighters, well, not freedom fighters, but like you're a terrorist, though.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It's a mess.
I'm backing you.
Yeah, we're mujahideen. We're what did Reagan call them? Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. Haven't played the Rats yet. Excited to play the new Rats, but the Elves are fun. I want to finish a campaign as the Elves. It's just so fucking hard, dude. There's so much that because you don't have fantastic infantry. You have like pretty good melee infantry, but like
until you get like stuff like the blade dances or whatever, it's like
it's difficult.
And even then it's just your infantry don't compare, and you're better off just
stacking lines of archers. Yeah, this podcast was originally going to be called "This is a Bowman Moment." I don't think we're going to keep that because we didn't really talk a ton about it. It's mostly Cyberpunk, but yeah, this is a Bowman moment, isn't it?
That's the truth.
That is the truth. Well, here, we'll wrap this one up. Thanks, everybody, for listening. This is the second Guildies podcast. There will be many more. Next week or the week after, I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't have a discussion picked out for now.
We can figure out something.
I'm sure we'll figure out something. Maybe we talked a little about maybe doing like a WoW back when, like Kata versus now and some of the quality of life stuff that's happened. And also maybe talking about
Halo is always an option as well if you're really not desperate.
Halo is a really good idea. That was actually why we were originally going to do this. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a year and a half ago?
Yeah, we're gonna call another friend playing some Halo Reach Invasion, and we pitched the idea of discussing Halo and our opinion on it because Hayden, our good friend Pudding House here, hasn't experienced Halo, hasn't experienced the newer Halos, and
I just haven't experienced 5. I've played everything else.
and I haven't experienced like some of the older Halos in their prime.
Which
So
I'm a
it'd
little
be-
older. I won't. We won't.
Yeah,
We won't dead name our year, but
but yeah, it's it would be a good kind
that's
of
a
like
good idea. Maybe we'll do that. I've been meaning to play 4 since it came out on Steam, but
we should. Well, I can't play it with you, but 4's really good.
man. Okay, here, hold on. Here's my final message to everyone. 343, if you're out there, I don't know what it would take for you to get dedicated servers for co-op content.
Dedicated wham.
But I'll pay for it. Okay, I work full time. Okay,
Sure.
in the heart of America, I can pay for this. Okay, I'm covered. We have great health care. I'll pay for it. Whatever you need, you can email me guildiespodcast@gmail.com and we can get this going. I will fucking
Amen,
I will Cash App you. I will Venmo you. I will fucking subscribe to your Patreon. I'll subscribe to your fucking OnlyFans. Whatever you want. Whatever it's going to take for you to get literally 2 server racks in like Czechoslovakia so I can fucking play with my friends. I will pay it. I will crowdfund it. I will run a marketing campaign so you can get this done. Whatever it takes, you let me know. We are going to figure this out so I can play co-op content with my fucking friends.
Yeah.
All
What
right.
he said.
All right. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.